There are two ways to do this. Let me explain the first way. Think of this as t to the x, but where x is, we have r to the 2. Now, what we can do is first do the composite function, t r to the x, and then when we're all said and done with composing that, we're going to put in our 2 to get our answer. Let me tell you what that means. So if I go t x equals 1/3 x plus 2, and then if I plug in r of x inside of that, I get 1/3, and then I plug in r of x, which is negative 3x plus 1 plus 2. And in multiplying that out, if I multiply this into those two spots, I get negative 1x, and then I get plus 1/3 plus 2, and that eventually results into negative 1x and 2 1/3. Now remember, the goal here was to obtain the value of when the 2 value was in there. So if we're going to evaluate t r of 2, we're going to plug in a 2 into that spot. And if you take 2 1/3 and you subtract out a third, 2 1/3 from 2, you get just 1/3. Now that's one way to obtain the answer. Let me show you another way to do it. So another way to do this is in 2 steps, is to find what r of 2 is, and then plug that into here. When you plug in this value, whatever you got that to be, you can plug it in there. Let me explain what I mean by that. So let's find what r of 2 is. So that would be negative 3x plus 1. When we plug in the 2, we get, that's sloppy, negative 6 plus 1, and so we get negative 5. r of 2 is the same as a negative 5 value. So if we want to know t with r of 2, the idea is r of 2, we know what it is, it's a 5. So this is kind of just saying what's t of 5, and so if we negative 5, sorry, if we substitute in 1/3 times negative 5 plus 2, we get negative 5/3 plus, and if we turn 2 into thirds, we get 6/3, and we get 1/3. Notice this is the same answer that we got in the other case. So there's kind of 2 ways to do it. Let me outline them just quickly for you, and then we'll finish. So technique 1 is to find t r of x, find out what it is, and then plug in your value, in this case the 2. Or technique 2 is find what r of 2 is and plug that value, whatever you got for that value, into this spot.